Welcome back after a short break. As already announced before, my name is Monica Primožić and I work for EIT Manufacturing as an education developer. Today I'll be hosting a Learn to Thrive roundtable with 7 different guests calling in from across Europe. We will discuss about different approaches to lifelong learning and what does life learning means today, especially in the fast-paced environment we live in. And around the table, I will start calling one by one in. We first have Paola Fantini, who serves, and Paola, if you can say a word or two. Paola serves as a Director of Education in EIT Manufacturing, and she oversees all educational and training activities and will present lifelong learning opportunities with EIT Manufacturing. Welcome, Paola.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to have you. We also have Linda Ferro online. She's calling in from Italy. She's a digital education manager within EIT Manufacturing. Linda, if you can say a word or two.
Well, thanks for introducing me. I'm really happy to be here with you, and I will tell what is a guided learning platform in EIT Manufacturing.
Thank you. So Linda is responsible for management of e-learning platform soon to be launched. And at the roundtable, she will actually present opportunities Skills Move, which is the name of this platform, offers. We also have Lucia online. Lucia, if you can say hi. Okay. Lucia, can you unmute yourself? Say something, perhaps. Lucia, are you here? Okay, so maybe we can move forward and try with Lucia again. It seems we have some technical issues. We have also Pedro Sena online. If you can say a word, Pedro.
Hello. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me, Monica.
Good morning, Pedro, and thanks for joining in. Pedro is a EIT Manufacturing Winter School student, PhD candidate for engineering and public policy at the Faculty of Engineering in University of Porto. So thank you for calling in from Portugal, Pedro. We also have Artur online. Artur, if you can say a word or two. Lucia, are you here? We don't hear you, unfortunately. Perhaps Artur. Artur, are you here? This is always a... I think we can hear you, but not see you. Please talk, Artur. Are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we cannot see you, unfortunately. So Artur has is also a PhD student in applied mathematics at the Faculty of Engineering at the University of Porto, and also an EIT Manufacturing Winter School student in Portugal. So both Pedro and Artur will be joining to the roundtable discussion to provide insights from experience with EIT Manufacturing alumni community. So let's try now with Harry. Unfortunately, we have some technical issues. So Harry Bikas, if you can say, please, a word or two so we can also see you.
Hi, Monica. Good morning from Patras. Hello, everybody, and pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you very much, Harry. So Harry, research engineer at the Laboratory of Manufacturing System and Automation in University of Patras in Greece. So thank you for calling from Greece, Harry. And he has been significantly involved in the development of teaching factory paradigm, and he's leading the EIT Manufacturing activity Teaching Factory NoNet. He will also present this at the roundtable discussion. So looking forward, Harry, to hear about that. We also have online Ludmila Rožičková. If you can say a word or two, Ludmila, so we can also see you.
Hello, greetings from Prague. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, Ludmila. Ludmila is a PhD student and an engineer at the CTU Prague in Czech Republic. So thank you for calling in from Czech Republic. And at the roundtable, Ludmila will present Young Manufacturing Leaders Initiative. So perhaps if we can go back to Lucia Ramundo, if we can see you right now. Let's hope that the technology works this time.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Lucia, but unfortunately, I don't see you right now.
Yes, unfortunately, it's not possible to speak from the laptop, so I have to use the mobile.
Okay, so perhaps what we can do right now, Lucia, let me introduce you and let's try to solve the problem later on. So Lucia Ramundo is also calling in from Italy. She's an EIT Manufacturing Master and Doctoral School head, and she will present a new perspective to the academic studies, showing how they can contribute to the fast-changing societal needs and to diversified audience. And perhaps let's try again with Artur.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Artur. We can hear you. I'm not sure we can see you. Can you say a few words? So let's try to do the audio as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm speaking from Portugal. It's wonderful to be here and joining you all in this wonderful roundtable.
Perfect, Artur. Now I can also see you. It's a pleasure to join us also from Portugal. So this basically brings us back to the start. Thank you all for joining. I would like to bring Paola on board right now. If you can say a word or two, Paola, so we can also see you.
Yes, okay, shall I share my screen?
Yes, so Paola, many thanks for joining us today here for the roundtable discussion. As already mentioned in the introduction, you hold the position of the Director of Education in EIT Manufacturing, and I wonder, how do you see lifelong learning being integrated into the EIT Manufacturing Education activities? And I see the slide on, thank you.
Can you see the slides now?
Yes, we can see the slide, Paola. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, but you cannot see the second slide unless, okay, yes, I can go this way.
We can see it now, yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well, we try to address all the life cycle of people and companies, meaning that we start by engaging pupils when they are at school and try to convey to them the challenges and the nice and interesting aspects of manufacturing and STEM in general, so that they can start considering manufacturing as an attractive and funny environment to develop their career in the future, but to have fun and you get engaged at the very beginning. So we have a program that is engaged, that really address pupils at the highest secondary and sometimes primary school, and engage them and commit them with challenges and games, etc. But we also follow people, individuals, when they are at the university. We have these 80 level master and PhD classes, programs, in which they are confronted with the international community, with international mobility, industrial challenges, and in which they are supported in developing innovation and entrepreneurial skills in particular. And then to answer more directly your question, Monica, we support long life learning during the whole life of people with our learning platform that Linda will illustrate in more detail later on, Skills Move. We have created together with our members tailor-made learning pathway that can address personalized needs of the learners to acquire new skills that are on demand of the manufacturing sector. But it's not only about digital learning. We also can offer programs based on hands-on training that is supported by our learning factories that are didactic, small manufacturing lines in which our learners can really make some hands-on experience and acquire different types of skills. And then we can also offer, but Harry will illustrate this much better than I can do now, only mentioning that we have this new and unique paradigm of teaching factories in which we establish connections between the learners and the real manufacturing environment with the people that are working on manufacturing issues and problems. So we establish with this collaboration, and we expose our learners into all the complexity of a real manufacturing environment, including social aspects related to different and maybe conflicting objectives. So overall, I believe that some of the value added that our programs can offer for long life learning are related to this pan-European dimension, to the fact that our programs are recognized with the EIT label, a quality seal that has been given us or acknowledged by the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. We collaborate where our programs are really integrated in the knowledge triangle, meaning that they are connected with industry and with research. We try to stimulate and finally we support the development of innovation and entrepreneurial skills in our learners at any age so that they can become change makers in the manufacturing landscape, and not only executors, but people that can offer the companies they're working for new ideas to improve services and processes and products, or to become startups. And last but not least, we are really grounded in our European values. We foster and support gender balance and inclusion, environmental and social objectives. So this is a very short but overview of what we can offer for learning in any stage of life.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Paola, for this brief and clear introduction of the EIT Manufacturing Education programs. Given that nowadays, I have some statistics here, 32% of existing jobs are likely to change significantly according to the OECD report. Lifelong learning combined with frequent knowledge updates and reskilling will become the norm for handling new emerging and enabling technologies. So Paola, in your view, what is the most distinguished aspect of EIT manufacturing education activities? And I think you already touched a little bit upon this. Thank you.
Well, I would just mention two key elements. One, that all our programs are developed together with the industry. So they are completely fitting the needs of the industry and the most recent trends. And the other aspect that our programs are suitable to be really personalized. So we are not offering one size fits all, but programs that can be customized depending on the needs of a specific companies, target groups, but also each individual. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paola, for joining us today and for this very nice introduction. And I would also like to welcome on board Linda, if you can say a word or two so we can also see your picture. Linda, I think you're muted.
Sorry. Yes, here I am. Thanks for introducing me. I was trying to share my screen.
Okay, so your role, Linda, at the EIT Manufacturing, as we already mentioned, is Digital Education Manager, and you're responsible for managing the digital platform we already introduced, and it's called Skills Move. which is also part of the Connect and Transform program that Paola mentioned before. So to my understanding, Skills Move is about to be launched. So perhaps can you give us a little bit of background on what exactly is Skills Move and what does it offer?
Yes, sure. So, well, Skills Move is the EIT Manufacturing learning platform. We as EIT Manufacturing and Skill Moves as a tool want to help the manufacturing industry to upskill and reskill the current and future workforce. I mean current and future because actually we are addressing all what are the stakeholders of the manufacturing industry, coming from workers and corporate, so business manager and HR manager, but most of all also the professionals, workers, and even students that are those that represent our future manufacturing workforce. So what I like to just to briefly describe what is Skill Move for us is the learning platform designed by the manufacturing industry for the manufacturing industry.
Thank you, Linda. And I'm very curious, what content will be available on Skills Move, and is there anything of particular interest for startups and SMEs listening in?
So as Paola was mentioning, in Skills Move you will have the chance to customize your learning content and your learning experience. You will have some learning content for free as a learning unit, like just imagine small classes or session, and then you will be able to configure and tailor a learning experience coherently with your needs and objectives. The objective might be set by the learner himself or by his manager or by the teacher, for instance. Regarding specifically the topics, those are completely coherent with our flagships. So you will find contents related to digital transformation, to robotics and human-machine collaboration, for instance, additive manufacturing, flexible production system more in general, and then also as fourth flagship, the circular economy for green manufacturing. So all what are the most well-known trend for the next coming year in the manufacturing industry. But it's not just learning content and digital learning contents, it's also hands-on experience. So the learner will be able to perform a test, task, to go through teaching sessions as teaching factories and learning factories. So it will not just be a passive learning, but all really on live learning.
Mm-hmm. And can you perhaps...
Hope it answered.
Yes. And can you perhaps share any examples of the learning paths?
Yes. So, well, let me start from the beginning. What's a learning path? Maybe is not clear to everybody. A learning unit is the minimum session, let's say, and those learning units can be assembled into creating a learning path. The learning unit is skill-driven, while a learner consuming a learning path will be able to develop a competency. Moreover, more learning paths can be aggregated into a learning journey. I prepare some examples for you just to give you an understanding of what you can find in the platform. So there are different kinds of content. You can have here like the teacher that is it's not okay, it's not working, but no problem. Well, there's a teacher that is explaining you what the topic, or you have some simulation and demonstration. So this flow will show you how the process works. You will have some tests, quiz, and as I was saying, also virtual reality and so on experiences.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. Perhaps what I forgot to mention before is if audience has any questions, please feel free to post those in the chat and we will raise it either to Linda or anyone else participating today. So we were talking about learning paths. Linda, who can actually contribute to the content development, and how do you ensure in EIT Manufacturing that actually content produces of quality? If you can elaborate on that.
Oh, yes. Well, sure. As Paula was saying, all our program and what we developed is strictly designed with our partners and our community. We are really proud to be part of this outstanding community made by players coming both from the industry and from the academic. So all the content are developed by them and by the consortia leading the project funded by EIT Manufacturing itself. So I think that the first step for high quality learning content is indeed this. Moreover, we are putting in place a quality check process where the learning unit and the learning path are checked before being published into the platform. And they are checked both by the content and the information point of view by authors' peers. And as well also from the quality in terms of format, e-video, images, and we as EIT Manufacturing are supervising this portion. So I think the quality process, well, it is an important point for education, and we try to address it as best as possible.
Okay, thank you. So this was really interesting to hear. Linda, perhaps for the audience, if you can share with us like where we can find more information about Skills Move before it's being launched. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it will be gradually launched. So we are finishing to configure the platform, and in the next month we will launch to our partner and all of you also. To all of us, really, everybody will be able to land into the platform. I will share you a link in the chat. So you can register yourself in our corporate webpage, and you will be keep it posted on next releases. As soon as we will have some more information, we can share them with you, if you like.
Thank you very much, Linda, and for all this information. We're all looking forward to the Skills Move launch and what it can offer. So now we are moving to Pedro, who we have online. I already introduced him. He's calling in from Portugal. So Pedro, if you can say a word or two so we can also see you.
Sure, Monica. Thanks for having me once again.
Thank you very much. So Pedro, as we said, you're joining the roundtable actually to share some personal experience with us, how it is to be a student with EIT Manufacturing, actually winter school student. So can you tell us about what the concept of winter school program exactly is, and why did you choose it to study with us?
Naturally. So for the first part, Winter School program is an intensive 1-month period of learning on specific topics of a very focused field. In the last edition, it was divided into 6 modules, with half focusing on intelligence and data-driven technical approaches for that particular edition, and the other half focused on innovation and business creation. The 2020 Winter School, which I took part alongside Artur Gonçalves, who's also joining me here today in this roundtable, was focused on data-driven smart manufacturing and innovation. And I actually joined the 2020 Winter School because of that particular topic, since it was relevant for my PhD. I do research in the adoption of digital technologies, in particular, the adoption of how AI and machine learning approaches are disrupting the manufacturing industry and how policies can actually foster that disruption. So it was a very relevant topic for me.
Okay, very interesting. And if you can choose few benefits of why exactly winter school with us, if you can talk slightly about this. Thank you.
Sure. In my opinion, there are basically 3 different benefits from participating in the winter school. The first one is the development and expansion of technical skills on a very specific topic. I mean, there is a very focused field on the winter school, so startups and young researchers can benefit from this by having a good opportunity to gather knowledge and on a required skill for the product and service development, or even for research focus. The other part would be, the second benefit would be the merging of technical skills with innovation capabilities. So this is mainly the combination of business creation modules with technical skills development, which I believe is paramount to bring ideas to life and establish viable business models. And the third benefit would be the networking with top-notch, talented, and motivated collaborators. The structure of the school provides a particularly opportunity for the development of business relationships and networking with highly skilled, self-motivated, and challenging seeking manufacturing collaborators.
Okay, very interesting to hear. And perhaps because you mentioned that was in winter 2020, that's not that long ago, can you share perhaps some memories or like personal experience about the whole experience you had?
Yes, of course. So my experience there was incredible. It was a totally virtual environment due to the pandemic situation. So we had to have interactions at all times through a virtual, I would say, a game that's called Laval World. And in there we have various exchanges through the classes that took place in the 3 first weeks of the program, then during the hackathons, which were one for each of the modules, and then the challenges which we picked. And together with a group of very talented people, we would devise a real situation experience and solution for a real situation problem. So the overall experience there was thriving. It was really motivating, and I do encourage people to try it out, especially if startups and SMEs are looking to encourage their collaborators to develop skills and networking.
Okay, thank you very much, Pedro, for joining us and also for sharing your personal experience. As I already mentioned before, we have also Lucia Ramundo online, and let's try if video this time works. Otherwise, what we can do to support you, Lucia, with the PowerPoint from our side. So perhaps this is a good time to introduce EIT label higher education programs that we have. And Lucia, as already mentioned, her role is EIT Manufacturing as a Master and PhD Program Manager. And Lucia, as part of your role, you oversee 2 types of EIT labor higher education programs. Hello, Lucia, do you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfect. So Lucia,
okay.
Perhaps if you can tell me, how does higher education, oh, we can also see you now. Thank you, Lucia. So if you can tell us, how does higher education programs with EIT Manufacturing cover the concept of lifelong learning?
Yes, sure, Monica. Thank you very much, and sorry for this technical trouble. I hope you can share my PPT, my slides, otherwise I will answer.
Yes, we have slides online right now.
Perfect, thank you very much. So you can move to the next slide, which is introducing already one of our programs, the Master School. And regarding the perspective of lifelong learning, I want to explain exactly the concept that we have behind our programs for this perspective. So traditionally, the academic education has been usually reserved to the young generations for deepening in a very strong way the specialization in trainings in specific subjects, technical subjects overall regarding the engineering studies. And only in very spare cases, adults and elder people are used academic training for going through upskilling and reskilling. But this was mainly due to the fact that the academic studies are usually linked to theoretical model and not to a more practical and closer to the industry's approach. Instead, in our programs for both the master and the doctoral school programs, we want to change the studies perspective of the academic studies, moving towards a specific hands-on, also called learning by doing a pedagogical approach, where the students practice the skills that they learn during the lectures. And in this way, they don't deepen in only the scientific studies. So, I mean, they are not going to deepen in only the technical part and the scientific part that, of course, is important for the academic studies because they need to learn the scientific method of making research and so on overall for the PhD students. But they also develop transversal skills, which are needed to use their specialization courses to go to the market, to be closer to the companies, and to use these skills for this upskilling and reskilling, and of course, this lifelong learning perspective. And in this way, we can also target overall in the doctoral school, and we can move to the next slide where you can see in short also the doctoral school program. I'm not going through the description of the program themselves, but you can read on the slide, of course. Overall, in this program, we would like to target specifically also professionals that can use this doctoral school program to deepen in their research skills during their employment, but also gather specific innovation and entrepreneurship knowledge that is needed to work in a company and eventually to create their own business venture in future. Moreover, we use a modular approach in our program where we use, for instance, the summer and winter school for a specific category of students that are not able to go through the long programs of the master and the doctoral school in itself. We also have specific programs like webinars, conferences overall in the doctoral school that can attract different categories of students, of course. So this is mainly the approach, and if we go to the next slide, we can see the different perspectives that we have for the life learning opportunity, starting from the inclusion of innovation entrepreneurship skills into specific scientific and technical courses at the master school, and going through different kind of methodology and hands-on approaches with the summer and winter school, which are modular based, and we will you have seen some example from Pedro before. And then also we open to other groups like professionals with the doctoral school towards a personalization approach that could be the future development of our programs in the next future.
Thank you, Lucia. So just looking at the slide, I think all concepts are more or less clear, but on my side, if you can elaborate perhaps a little bit more on summer and winter schools. We heard Pedro sharing his personal experience before, so I think it would be nice if you can explain what exactly are winter and summer schools more from the theoretical point of view.
Okay, if we move once again to the slide and to the next one, I've prepared a short presentation of the summer and winter school approach. You have seen, of course, an example from Pedro. And these are intensive programs, short but intensive programs run usually during summertime or wintertime during the holidays of the overall of the academic studies. And they focus on specific manufacturing aspects in relation to the impact with the societal challenges and the environmental challenges that the manufacturing sector is currently face. And we offer this summer school to master's students, and specifically summer and winter schools also to the doctoral school students, like that one that Pedro enrolled last year. about the data-driven manufacturing, for instance. And during these activities, there is a huge involvement of companies and different experts from different disciplines inside the master, the summer and winter school, in order that the students get a real clue with the company life. So the industrial partners can share with the students the success and difficulties of running research and development in a company, and also to go to market with new products and services, for instance. So they share also the possibility to go through innovation-based challenges where the students can develop further ideas and also try to see how their research studies and their research ideas, or their to develop new ideas that can be then developed as a real startup to go to the market. So there are a lot of challenges for the students overall to practice the skills that they have learned during the specialization courses that they have during the academic studies, of course. And they offer also overall the doctoral school, summer and winter school, a specific venture program for this startup development with and other specific activities that we run together with other partnerships that we are establishing at the moment inside the EIT Manufacturing Master and Doctoral School, overall for the entrepreneurial approach of the students. And it's important to stress once again that these activities are really important to move from this learning to know approach that usually we have in the academic studies towards learning to do, which is needed to start this new perspective of lifelong learning for the academic studies, and definitely to move finally to the learning to collaborate and live together in order to develop a new solution for the societal challenges, which is mainly the target that we want to have for this long life perspective inside the Master Doctoral School program in themselves, but also in the short program of the summer and winter school. So in this way, we will be able to develop real leaders for the manufacturing of the future.
Thank you, Lucia, for this very nice overview of the Master Doctoral Schools as well as summer and winter programs. So perhaps, Lucia, the last question I have for you, if the audience would like to know more about Master PhD programs, so winter and summer schools, where we can find more information about this?
Yes, I see that the slide is already there. You can see the link where the Master Doctoral School and also the last year Winter School are already published. So inside the EIT Manufacturing website, we have this general web page that is summarizing the link to the free programs. New one will be added soon, of course, in 21. And inside each of these links to Master School, Doctoral School, and Winter School, you can find much more information about our programs. And we also have dedicated emails to Master School at eitmanufacturing.eu and Doctoral School at eitmanufacturing.eu, where you can send us the questions in case it's needed. They are also included into these web pages.
Thank you very much, Lucia. That was very nice to hear. So, as already mentioned before, we had Arthur also online. So, Arthur, if you can say a word or two so we bring your picture online.
Yes, absolutely. It is wonderful to be here.
To see you again.
Can you see me?
Yes, of course. So Arthur, you're also here today to share your personal experience, what it is to be a winter school student with EIT Manufacturing, similarly as Pedro before. And based on the concept that also Lucia shared with us, I have a question. So in your view, how can Winter School help startups, and why is it important for the lifelong learning in your view?
Yes, I think it's totally correlated. Lifelong learning implies living in a society where you have a highly competitive and ever-changing environment around you. And if you're a startup, that is even more crucial to be able to stand out and to be relevant and to have that light bulb in your idea, in your product, in your service that you are offering. And one thing that you learn in an event like the Winter School is your capability to thrive under pressure, to being capable of producing relevant results, to learn from other people's experience. And most of all, what I learned particularly in the Winter School is the capability to being able to thrive under such a multicultural, multidisciplinary background, which is completely essential for any startup, even for big companies nowadays. If you're not capable to switch your mindset and being able to thrive under those experiences, you will never be able to even do things such as networking and developing your technical and soft skills. So yes, absolutely. Winter school, summer schools, I believe that this could help anyone who enters and joins this program.
And perhaps if you can share some example, how is this useful actually for startups and SMEs listening in today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. One thing that was particularly interesting with my experience, and Pedro already mentioned a little bit that, was the knowledge and networking, sharing experiences that we had. It was a unique, multi-way opportunity to develop activities, to develop friendships, and most of all, if not just for the short-term aspects that I mentioned before, if you look at in the long-term aspect of it, participating in a winter school from a program supported by EIT Manufacturing, you are joining a very interesting community, an amazing community where everybody wants to be better than yesterday. And if you join a winter school, you're immediately part of that community, of that alumni community, and a very young and entrepreneurial community that is trying to work and developing new activities, new opportunities that are being building up every day. And if you join this event, it means that you will be able to join even more activities that will help you becoming that lifelong learner, helping you to keep up to date with the most innovative things that are being done by our community across all Europe. And that is something that you cannot take away, regardless of being an individual, a startup, or any other enterprise.
Thank you very much, Artur. This was very pleasant to hear also from your perspective of the personal experience you had with EIT Manufacturing Winter School program. So thank you for joining us and sharing this with us. Now, the time brings us to Hari Bikas. Hari, if you can say a word or two so we can also see your picture.
Hi, Monica, and thanks for having me here today.
Thank you, Hari. So you're joining this discussion for a slightly different angle than the rest of the participants today. You actually contributed to the development of teaching factories. So can you tell us perhaps about what teaching factories exactly are and how does the concept of teaching factories work?
Sure, thanks a lot. As you said, it's a slightly different perspective because mainly we try to reflect the same values that were mentioned before. So we very much agree with what was observed by the previous speakers, albeit the teaching factory concept comes from a bit of a different perspective. So what is a teaching factory? A teaching factory is basically an open window between industry and academia, constituting essentially a two-way communication channel where from the factory, practitioners teach students, and from the classroom, students and faculty teach practitioners. This two-way street is realized via the internet, and is usually a continuous process over a lengthier period of time with regular sessions and continuous interactions between the factory and the classroom. The whole idea is based in openly sharing both knowledge, know-how, and ideas, benefiting from what each side knows best. So industry benefits from what academia knows best, benefits from fresh ideas, while academia benefits from know-how coming from the industry side. As such, a teaching factory is more of a way of working together and can be used in different ways or different modalities. The initial idea of teaching factory was what we now call industry to academia mode, where industrial partners launch an innovation challenge. This is a practical problem that they face in their daily operation, with which they could use help in solving, external help in solving, or new ideas. Academia responds to this challenge with students and the researcher teams putting their theoretical knowledge to practice, deriving potential solutions, and delivering them to the industry. Then we also have other modes such as the academia to industry, where state-of-the-art technological concepts or specialized training is transferred from the lab to the factory. We also have an operating mode that we call academia to academia, where universities share specialized know-how and infrastructure between them in order to collaboratively teach a certain subject. So as I said at the beginning, it's more of a way of bringing different actors together and combining skills, capabilities, and new ideas, as well as working together in interdisciplinary aspects and across borders.
Mm-hmm. And for example, all SMEs and companies listening in today, if anyone as a student or SME startup would like to join teaching learning factories, how can they join?
This is actually a very good point. For the time being, students can only join through their respective universities. So if a university is a member of this exchange network, we launch pilots regularly, and students can be part of these pilots through their respective organizations. For companies and startups, we have actually created a specific area on our website where they can also apply for participating in one of those activities. They can also directly contact us using the email addresses that are shown on the screen. We actually expect to start having pilots with external entities in the second semester of 2021, and of course continue in 2022 onwards. Keep in mind that at this stage, participation in such pilots is free of charge for all companies and SMEs and startups. However, the mode for now will focus on innovation challenges. Later on, we plan also to expand in training and delivering training to the companies. And of course, if anyone is interested, you are more than welcome to get in contact and join us and taste this whole concept firsthand, because I think that's the only way to actually comprehend all the unique benefits that come from it. So if you're interested, please get in touch.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps I think like this type of education concept is still quite new and quite unique. And perhaps if you can provide an example or two so we can imagine a little bit better and to grasp the concept, what exactly teaching factories are.
Okay, let's give two examples from what we actually ran in this activity in TFNONet within 2020. Based on two different modalities that I explained before. The first example involves collaboratively working towards solving an innovation challenge imposed by the industry. Such a challenge was launched last year by Volvo Trucks, and it was regarding introduction of digital work instructions in an assembly line. Due to the increased handling complexity and the product variety, the operators required better decision support during their task. And this decision support required to consider multiple parameters that affect the ability of the operator to perform such tasks. The challenge itself was divided into different assignments: identification of the parameters that could positively and negatively affect the product quality, and assessment of the most important parameters by proposing how they could be taken into account in a decision support functionality. In this case, what we did was bringing together students and researchers from three different universities in three different countries, mainly Italy, Greece, and Finland, composing groups and working together to solve this challenge. At the end of the day, what they did is delivering three totally different propositions and three totally different potential solutions to Volvo trucks. The second example, coming from a different mode, was realized in the course of the same project. It involves collaboratively teaching the principles of manufacturing processes. In this case, we dealt with 5 families of manufacturing processes, each process being presented first theoretically via lecture by the specialized partner, followed by a practical lab demonstrator where the students had the ability to look into the different processes and actually observe what is going on and what happens when they change process parameters. In this case, we had students from 4 countries, Italy, Spain, Finland, and Greece. And the lab sessions were also hosted in different locations, taking advantage of the specialized infrastructure and the specialized equipment that was present in the premises of the different partners.
Okay, thank you very much, Harry. So I said at the beginning that you're joining this discussion for a slightly different angle than the rest. You actually contributed to content development of EIT Manufacturing. And I'm curious, so I will ask you, what is your experience in developing educational content with EIT Manufacturing, if you can share your experience?
Well, basically, my experience was more along the lines of reusing content and tailoring that content to the specific needs of the teaching factory pilot that we had at hand. A very useful asset on that front was what was presented by Linda, so the Skills Move platform and the material that was there. And it was very useful both in terms of the high quality material and the high quality content that has already been developed across numerous EIT manufacturing activities, but also due to the unique structure that allowed us to easily reconfigure the material and create tailored learning paths that could be used as part of its teaching factory pilot. Other than that, as mentioned at the beginning, the teaching factory setting is very unique and is very modular. It can be tailored very much to the specific needs of its industry that participates or to the specific needs of its university that participates. So there is no unique solution to that. It's just bringing together skills, bringing together competencies, linking together people from all over Europe and creating a mentality that working together, we can solve anything and benefit also from both sides. So benefit from the solutions that go to industry and benefit from generating additional know-how for the participants.
Okay, that was very interesting to hear. Thank you for sharing, Harry, and also thank you for calling in from Greece and regards to Greece. So next one we have online is Ludmila, who's calling in from Czech Republic. So Ludmila, if you can say a word or two so we can have you online.
Yeah, hello, thanks for having me. I hope you hear me and also see me.
Yes, all. We see you and we hear you very well. So as I mentioned, today's discussion is actually to present the Young Manufacturing Leaders Initiative and how it actually also contributes to the lifelong learning. And being, you know, a young female mechanical engineer yourself and a student of the PhD in Mechanical and Engineering, can you tell me a little bit more about Young Manufacturing Leaders Initiative, what exactly it is, and how did you become part of it?
Sure, thanks for a nice question. Well, Young Manufacturing Leaders is an open initiative for students, young workers, and professionals interested in a career in the manufacturing sector, founded in 2020. We are strongly committed to raise awareness about the possibilities in manufacturing and to spread the knowledge of the skills needed in this sector. We support our members with different activities such as peer-to-peer seminars, mentorship with professionals and entrepreneurs, and participation to the activities of the World Manufacturing Foundation. All the YML network members are assigned to a local city hub according to their country of residence. Well, and in May 2020, our Faculty of Mechanical Engineering at the Czech Technical University in Prague joined this European initiative, Young Manufacturing Leaders, and the teacher who was in charge of this on behalf of the CDU approached me and a few of my colleagues because he felt that we would be let's say, suitable for this activity, because we have been leading a student club for several years at a Faculty of Mechanical Engineering called Engineering Student Club, which is a group of enthusiastic students who organize regular weekly events for other students, such as seminars and workshops in collaboration with industrial partners. We are trying to bring the industry closer to the students and thus broaden their horizons and help with them, help with their future career.
Okay, thank you. So the audience listening in today is across the whole Europe, joining from different parts of the world as well. So my question would be, does anyone can join the initiative, or are there specific rules or regulations?
No. Everybody can join. We are open for all the young people, as I mentioned, and also young workers, and also college students, also high school students. So you can just go to our website, youngmanufacturingleaders.org, and then you can just join us. And as I mentioned, the goal is to bring industry really close to the students so that they can better imagine what awaits them in the future career and which professional direction they would like to take. If I'm speaking for our Prague City Hub, if anyone listening here from the Central Europe, you would be probably in our Prague City Hub. So we also, of course, try to do some events also in English, not just in Czech language. So, for example, that our colleagues studying at Erasmus can also participate, or just the members from the Central Europe. And also, what's I think worth to mention is, in addition to these events, this year we are organizing an international competition for the first time as the Prague City Hub of the Young Manufacturing Leaders Initiative. And this is a creativity competition in additive manufacturing, where students from the entire YML initiative will have the opportunity to join and win a 3D printer. So this is really for the whole Europe. So whenever you're watching, you can just join and join this competition and win this prize. And I think that's really nice opportunity also for the young students.
Okay, very interesting to hear. Thank you, Ludmila. And if you can choose one exciting thing or one important project that you're really working on in Young Manufacturing Leaders Initiative right now, what would that be? And perhaps if we can look from the startup SMEs, entrepreneurs perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I would say that what we are now really focusing on is preparing of this competition, which starts in June, in the half of June. So that's something we are really now working on. And I think we are most proud of the connection between students and industry that we are building. We try to keep up with the times, let's say, and bring to students current topics that can help them to choose their professional direction. Through these activities, companies can also offer students internships, trainees programs, and opportunity to have bachelor's and master's theses in the companies. And our students get very soon into the real world of industry. And I think that from my side, that's something I'm really proud of and something I really think that's important.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I see the passion behind, so it's very nice that you share this experience. So as I said before, I'm curious, so I also have another question for you. And perhaps about your personal experience. You know, I already mentioned as an introduction, female mechanical engineer yourself. And perhaps if you can share or select the experience, why exactly did you select the technical studies? And as part of your work, do you also encourage other young female students as a role model, perhaps, that studying technical programs at the university is in?
Okay, thank you for this question. Well, as a child, I watched the Stargate SG-1 a lot, and I wanted to be a scientist like Samantha Carter. Over time, I began to think more about international relations and diplomacy, but by coincidence, at the end of my high school studies, I met a student of the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, and I was absolutely thrilled by this field. Then I went there on the Czech Technical University and studied manufacturing and materials engineering. And now in my PhD studies, I focus on heat treatment of metal materials processed by 3D printing. And that's something I really love and I'm really passionate about. And I personally try to popularize engineering about my friends and people I meet. I try to show them that this is not just the area where men can apply. I also try to pass on my experience at high schools where I go and talk about studying technical field in general and how fun and beneficial it is. And the role of both men and women is irreplaceable and unmistakable in my opinion. And it is good to have both sides in this area.
I agree, Ludmila. Thank you very much for joining us today, and also thank you for sharing your personal experience. I think that's very valuable to hear. Thank you, Ludmila. So this now actually brings us to the end of our roundtable discussion. As we have seen, we have 7 guests online presenting different parts of a lifelong learning perspective and different angles as well.